Tēnā koe, Mr Speaker, o tira tēnā tātou katoa. Ka noho rangirua te rōpū reipa I te pere reo Maori. Ka tū au ki te tautoko I ngā kōrero o aku hoa. Nā ngoi piwharangi, tito te waiata āringa, rongonui mo te reo Māori, ara ko whakarongo te ingoa. Anei tētahi whiti, whiua ki te ao, whiua ki te rangi, whiua ki ngā iwi katoa. Kaua rawatia e tukua ea kia memeha ea, whakarongo. Mr Speaker, I stand with all members of the House to acknowledge the importance of revitalising te reo Māori in Aotearoa. And like members on this side of the House particularly, we support this bill to select committee. And as previous speakers have mentioned, we too have reservations on the intent of the bill. So let's look at what the bill is about. The Māori Language Te Reo Māori Bill seeks legislative changes to update and strengthen the Māori Language Act in relation to recognition of Māori language, no problem there, the establishment, roles, functions, powers and membership of a new independent statutory entity to be known as Te Mātāwai. We have some reservations there. The roles, functions, powers and membership of Te Taurawhiti Te Reo Māori, Te Māngai Pāho and the board of the Māori Television Service. The transfer of the roles, functions and powers of Te Pūtahi Pāoho o Te Mātāwai, the disestablishment of Te Pūtahi Pāoho and subsequent amendments to other enactments. So, Mr Speaker, what does the bill do? The bill will make significant changes to the Māori Language Act 1987 to establish the Mātāwai. The bill will replace the Māori Language Act 1987 and amend the Broadcasting Act 1987 and amend the Māori Television Act 2003. The bill will also establish Te Mātāwai. The purpose of Te Mātāwai is to act on behalf of iwi and Māori. Te Mātāwai is charged with providing leadership through its oversight and direction of Te Taurawhiti Te Māngai Pāho in conjunction with both the Ministers of Māori Affairs and the Minister of Finance. Mr Speaker, as I mentioned earlier, the Labour Party is committed to the revitalisation and to building capacity of reo teaching throughout Aotearoa. And we too announced our reo policy where we put down the challenge of ensuring that we commit to building good quality teachers of te reo and that we ensure that te reo becomes what we consider a working language, a language that everyone can embrace. Aha ko, where you come from, the ability to speak te reo is, I believe, an opportunity for all New Zealanders to embrace not just our language but our culture as Māori tangata whenua. So, Mr Speaker, it's my pleasure to stand and acknowledge the importance of te reo in our nation, and not in just its cultural context, but definitely in its social, environmental and its economic purposes as we forge relationships internationally with potential trading partners, many of who have more than one language. So it is about relationships with people that we deal with on a daily basis in overseas country. But, Mr Speaker, my contribution really was to support the contribution made by the Honourable Nanaia Mahuta, in that we too want to ensure ourselves that a legislation as important as this one isn't being rushed, that has followed due process, it has been widely consulted on, and what comes out at the other end, be it a structural change, is going to meet the needs and aspirations of revitalising our reo. And that is why we've made that suggestion that it should be sent to the Waitangi Tribunal so it can get a thorough examination on the intent of this bill. 21 hui around the mutu is what the Honourable Peter Sharples mentioned. When I look at the legislation that will change under this one, if it passes, I know many, many, many more hui have been held to get to that outcome. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to leave it there as a small contribution to this bill, and I want to take the remaining time that I have to acknowledge the Honourable Peter Sharples. Mr. Speaker, as a fellow Kingsman of the Honourable Peter Sharples, I stand in, because it may be the only time I get to do this, to acknowledge your contribution, Matua Peter, for the mahi, the years and commitment that you have given not only to our reo, but to our education. The way that you have conducted yourself, both in the House and around the mutu, will be sorely missed. And I wish for anything that I could spend more time sharing this House with you and learning from you as you go on to other deeds. Matua Pita, it is with quite sadness that you depart this ways, but I did want to go on record acknowledging the contribution you have made to this nation. So, nō reira, e tōku pāpa, e Pita, anei au wiki whakamutunga, ka tū te mihi poroporo aki i te pōnei, ki te whare parimata. Ka haere mai te tini me te mano no te hau kāinga, no ngā hau e whā ki te whakanui i a koe me au mahi. E kōrero ana tera pāpa ōku a ngāhi ui tamona ki a hau. E meka, he uri kahungunu koe. Tua atu i tera, he member parimata. Ko taua tera e Pita. Ka mihi hoki au, mō aua mahi. Huhua mō tamaki makaurau, mō te mutu whānui. Hari ko ki tō tātou whare, tēnā koutou, kia ora tātou katoa.
I call Tim McIndoe.
Kia ora, Mr. Speaker. Me whakanui a tātou e te wiki.